Michael and Mr. Kulin, lovely speaking to you. Thank you for speaking to CNBC TV18. We're here talking about US Polo and, your partnership with Arvind Fashion so far. Michael, I want to start off with you. If you can tell me, how has the India market been for you from a global standpoint, if you look at it in terms of how the business has done in the past year or two, and how big are you currently betting on the Indian market?
Well, we're very excited about this market, and first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about the global growth. So over the last 5 to 6 years, we've grown $1 billion at retail worldwide with the brand. So we set a strategic vision to hit $2 billion in 2025. We hit $2.3 billion in 2022. So we over-delivered by $300 million at retail, and we were 3 years early. And the reason I make that point is that India has been a tremendous contributor to that success. And it's one of our top markets in the world. It represents about 15%, over 15% of that number at retail. And it's a number 3 market for us worldwide.
So if we talk about you really doubling down on the Indian market, then how do you see that 15% number growing in the next 1 or 2 years?
Yeah, so I think the US Polo has now hit a very, very seminal kind of moment in its history where we are 2,000 crores almost in revenue. To just give you the context, we launched this brand in 2009 and it took us 10 years to hit 1,000 crores. And the next 1,000, has come in half of that time. In 4 to 5 years, we'll be hitting 2,000 crores. So I think it's a great milestone for us. And we believe this brand has such a long and exciting runway of growth. The brand is expanding along multiple vectors. We're scaling up our retail presence. The penetration of retail is growing. We're doubling down on our digital strategy. In fact, today we launched US Polo's website, uspolo.in, and we've been one of the largest brands digitally in this country. 25% of this scale comes from digital, and with the launch of the website, we see that further accelerating. And then we have these wonderful adjacencies scaling up like footwear, innerwear, kidswear. So I think even though we've reached this scale, I think the story is just getting started. I think India is going to see the S-curve of consumption, and this is the dominant brand in its category. India is casualizing, so hopefully the next 1,000 will also come in a short period of time. So we are very excited and we are doubling down. We are doing this big campaign launch today, the Legends campaign. We'll have 4 great celebrities of sport and fashion come together for the first time. And you will see a lot of visibility of this brand in Q2.
Right, and this 2,000 number that we're talking about, by when are you expecting to hit that? We've been hearing about that for the past 2 quarters.
I mean, in broadly this fiscal year, we are at that mark.
The demand environment has been a bit subdued, and this time we've also seen that extending into the premium categories also, and not just in the entry level. So as things stand, we're well into the second quarter also. How are you seeing the demand environment panning out, and what do you expect in terms of the recovery? Do you think you'll be able to recover in this quarter, or do we have to wait till the festive season, which is falling in the next quarter this time?
Yeah, so see, this year has been a little challenging, as we had discussed during Q1. I think there are two impacts. One is that last year's H1 base had a COVID recovery built in. So, the base was a little elevated. So, when you compare to that base, growths have looked a little muted. Secondly, as you rightly said, I think there are parts of our consumption which are getting a little affected by cost of living, EMI, etc. So there has been a little bit of sluggishness. But, I personally believe this is a transient nature. I think the economy is doing very well.
Right.
I think there is enough vibrancy going on in various sectors. The India story is very strong. So I'm not expecting this to be something which is to bother the sector for a long period of time. I expect as we run towards Diwali, we will see an uptake in consumer sentiment. If you look at the closest kind of metric that has gone by, it's Independence Day weekend. It was a strong weekend for most of the retailers. So I remain cautiously optimistic.